Unity, love, abundance, prosperity, and all things divine. I hope all is well. Happy Sun Cycle. I hope everyone had an amazing Saturday. And this message that I have today is in regards to the message that I gave previously to this one about what I feel the lionsgate portal was showing to some. Now, what we touched points on was the fact that it's not just about the money that a lot of people talk about. It's other things as well. So I'm gonna take it a little bit deeper. For example, and this is just my personal experience, with this Lion Gaze portal, I noticed that it's been bringing up a lot of parts of myself that's been hidden, that is centered around experiences that I've, been through in the past. A perfect example is like, and a lot of it is dealing with my ego. Now, a lot of trauma and stuff that I have dealt with, or what I perceive to be trauma, stemmed from the reason why my ego came up and it presented itself in a lot of conversations that I've had, probably within the last maybe few months. And because of that, I noticed that and gained awareness from first my lady and other people that are close to me, like how much of an effect that has had on them. So I had to sit down with myself and think about these things. And my discovery from doing that is like, okay, this is pent up stuff from the past. These are things that which I thought I had released, but it was deeper. And that's one of many things that I love about um, self-discovery, is the fact that you get to dive deeper into yourself and know the bits and pieces of yourself that you knew, like that you did not know before, which will reveal a lot of things. And I feel with this Liongate portal, with me, it had brought those things up to the surface. Now, during that time, I didn't manifest anything. However, I did a few months ago. I can't remember which month it was, but it was a few months ago that I mentioned that I want to go through a healing experience that will bring things to the surface. And lo and behold, that manifestation manifested. And it revealed to me a lot of these different things. And quite often, me and my lady, we sit down and we have a conversation about these things. Now, there was moments where my ego presented itself and it wasn't in the most favorable way, which caused a lot of hurt towards my lady and also towards other people as well that is in my life. And I didn't realize until I became more aware of it, of these different patterns and stuff. So the more and more I notice these patterns, I sit down and I think to myself, well, what are some things that I can implement to change this? Well, first thing first, acknowledgement. Acknowledging the role in which you play in other people's suffering. Number two, acknowledge the fact that these things that stem from the past and past situations where you felt like you might not have been, you felt like your power was being taken away or has been stripped away from you from these situations. To release yourself from that, well, for me, releasing myself from it, what I did was either had these conversations with these said people about these things so that energy can pull out, or I took it to my journal, which is just a few things. There's many other ways as well. And number three, another thing you can do is sit and talk with your higher self. Other people will say, oh, talk to God, the universe and whatnot. And what you perceive God to be to you, sit down and have a conversation. Don't beg, don't plead, just have a conversation. So when I sat down and I had this conversation, I received insight later on through my dreams of different things that played out. For an example, with my siblings, my brothers, right? A lot of things that I experienced as a kid was because of things that my brothers have done to me. And I noticed that these things play out in these dreams and it showed face. And a lot of these things actually came true. For example, my eldest brother, there was a dream that I had, and my mom was in it, and his former partner was in it. And they were quiet, and we were in Walmart. And I didn't like how my brother was speaking to his, former lady. So I felt some kind of way, so I spoke about it. And I spoke my mind, and I also humbled him at the same time. Now, in the dream, the way in which it came off, I was very cutthroat and very honest with him. And this funny thing is that same thing played out. It didn't play out in the same way because, for one, my mom transitioned back in 2020. And two, my eldest brother is not with his former partner anymore. Of course, when I had the conversation with him, it was over the phone. It wasn't in Walmart, but it played out. The energy returned. Now, initially, what the conversation had went was I had a conversation with him talking about the things in the past, and I had this conversation so I can rectify it, so that way I can move on because this is part of my healing journey. So I spoke to him about it, and then his ego showed face. And he ended up trying to argue me down, and then initially ended up hanging up. Now, I ended up sending him a message. And I was very cutthroat and honest and straight to the point in that message, which also ended in me saying, like, well, I'm not willing to deal with that anymore in my life. So if this is how you're going to be, and this is how, you're going to, if this is how respect look like to you, then I'm good. I'm going to move on, knowing that I did the best that I could to rectify the situation. Which this also played out with my other siblings as well, my other brothers. And that right there was stemming from something from the past, but it was still some lingering things. It was still some cleaning and some sweeping that needed to be done on that end, which right now I'm in the process of going through all of that. I'm in a phase of sitting down and acknowledging these things, acknowledge the fact that it happened, acknowledging the role I played in it, acknowledging the role that others played in it, and so far and so forth. But that's what it looked like for me. Of course, for everybody else, it would look different. And this is stemmed from that lionsgate portal. It looked different for everybody. That's why I mentioned in the previous video, it's not always about money. It's not. I think sometimes, like a lot of people in the spiritual community, when they come down to this lionsgate portal, they always attach it to money, when there's other things that can stem from this as well. It's all healing. Now, I can get it for some that has been through the healing and they want to manifest that. And because that energy is radiating and is very powerful, of course, yeah. With all due respect, yes, do it. However, that's not the only thing. So I take note of that. I take a mental note of that. Because that's not the only way in which you can manifest things. Miss several different ways. It's not a one thing. Like, for example, there's no such thing as everything is instilled in one book, because that's why if that was the case, then there wouldn't be all of these books out here for you to be able to purchase or obtain to read and expand your knowledge, expand your consciousness, whatever it looks like for you. So it's the same thing when it comes down to life. And to truly be honest, each every one of us have a library already. It's the library that's up here that you can access. And the way you can access it is through meditation, through sitting with yourself, through doing some form of art, or even in your career. Any moment in which you are dedicating your energy into whatever it is that you're doing, you will receive this insight and this knowledge and this wisdom. And you would think it just came out of nowhere, but these are things that you have within yourself. It takes a level of you having patience with yourself and understanding of yourself, and be able to deep dive into the parts of your mind that you haven't done before. Now, with that being said, that's what I feel this Lionsgate portal did for me. And I feel like it was probably the same way for other people as well. But I just want to come up here, and just share my story and be a little vulnerable and be a little open with y'all. And let y'all know what the experience was for me with the Lionsgate portal and what it may have possibly been for other people. But other than that, I love y'all. I'm thankful and grateful for y'all. Have an amazing, beautiful, abundant, and prosperous rest of your sun cycle.